I took my mother in 1979, 1980 back to China. It was very different from when she had left. It was communism. My uncles and all the people in China, for that matter, they were in what we call communes. They had to work for the commune, no private enterprise. They had their jobs and they were only allotted so much. Everything was rationed, even the rice they ate.
I姓何，我個名叫玉蘇。我出世喺廣東川差。我有5個兄弟姊妹，我係排第2嘅。我阿媽同阿爸冇錢養我哋，買咗我同我家姐做妹仔，我買咗俾姓陳嗰幾家人。我好勤力返工㗎。
My mother was born in 1910. When my mother was sold, she was very upset about it, that her father and mother would sell her. And then also that her brothers would even allow it, that her brothers didn't even stop the parents from selling her.
我冇點讀過書嘅，但係我好叻記性，同我唔怕辛苦。嗰時陳耀昌返咗去鄉下探親，見到我一見鍾情，即刻咗佢第3個老婆。嗰時啲男人可以有好多個老婆㗎，但係做個第3個老婆好辛苦㗎，因為我要聽個人講啦，俾人蝦啦。加埋我家婆有紮腳嘅，我要服侍佢。
My grandmother, her mother-in-law, had bound feet. Apparently, her feet were only about 3 inches. They would fit into a soya sauce dish. And, of course, she could never do anything.
新塘有近一個碼頭嘅，呢個碼頭可以俾啲居民搭船啦，就係運貨去廣州同香港。新塘係個好熱鬧嘅地方嚟㗎，有好多個店，又有食物店啦，有茶店啦，又有工廠啦，同有妓院。1938年8月。日本仔抄入咗廣州，炸咗廣九鐵路，嗰啲居民好驚啊！佢哋啲生活受咗好大個影響啊！
I remember my mother talking about the time when the Japanese were in China, and she had to coolie for them, and she found that was horrible. So She never liked Japanese at all.
1939年，日本就終於走咗啦。我聽到好消息，話我老公可以帶我哋去新西蘭。嗰晚，我同阿哥同我啲鄉下朋友偷偷地去港九鐵路，諗住逃走去香港。我哋要偷偷地避開啲日本仔同炸彈。我仲記得我哋好驚同好攰。
It was a very brave thing. Also, my mother had to do it in secret because she didn't want anybody else to know that she was coming to New Zealand. Otherwise, well, the second wife might have had something to say.
1940年4月8號，我哋搭咗個船叫 Tender 去咗雪梨，跟住搭咗個船叫 Oadia 去咗屋崙。
She'd only arrived in New Zealand one day. The next morning, she went out, caught a ferry, don't know how, and she went over to the city to have a look. How she got there, Dad might have given her some money, but she would have had to still get on a bus, a boat, and then walk, and then find her way back to Takapuna. My father may not have chosen my mother to come to New Zealand because she was not his favourite. I think it was because she instigated it herself. My father's favourite wife would have been his number 2 wife because for many years my father had a photo of himself and he had cut out a photo of his number 2 wife and put it with the photo, and it was kept in their bedroom in an oval frame, and it sat there for many, many years. Even after she died, she was always there in their bedroom. My mother never said anything about this photo being up there. She just knew that she was number 3 and she was here in New Zealand. We had a very happy childhood. My father, having the fruit shop, he would have had a little bit of money to be able to probably save, because he was a very frugal person. My mother is very frugal too, and they were hardworking and they did save a lot. But we had a wonderful life in the shop. My mother used to say to me, "You've got to look after your brothers, otherwise I will give them away." Well, I never let them be given away. I always looked after them. I'm married to Bing Hing, and we've been married for 63 years now. And we have 2 sons and a daughter.
I still occasionally have somebody come up to me and say, "I remember you had a dairy," and I'll go, "Yes, that was my parents." And they'll say, "Oh, it's a girl, aren't you?" And I went, "Yeah, that's me." Because when I was born, my parents put this banner up in the dairy saying it's a girl. And I was locally famous for that. I'm Serena Irving. I'm a director at JDW Chartered Accountants. I was born in Auckland, and I spent a lot of my early childhood with my grandmother, my pawpaw. Her name's Ho Yuke So. We were 100% Cantonese speaking at her place because she was not very good at English. So I think I spent most of my first 5 years speaking Cantonese And then it wasn't really until I got to kindergarten that I was speaking English. We spent the first 10 years of my life with the dairy. It was quite normal for us to help out serving in the shop even when I was 6. I learned how to do stock and rotate stock and scoop ice creams and making up 5-cent lolly mixtures for my friends when they came in to buy things. It was a big deal for me to go to university because my brothers never got to university and my parents had never been to university. I think if things had been different, my dad would have loved to have gone and got a degree and done some interesting things, but he was required to work in the shop. I think my pawpaw would have been pretty excited as well. She always wanted the best for us, and I think she saw that tertiary education was going to be the way that we could get ourselves out of doing the hard slog of running a shop.
I took my mother in 1979, 1980 back to China to see her family. On the special trip home for the first time, she really wanted to see her brothers. She wanted to tell her brothers off, to get it off her chest after all these years. When we went to the village, they were wearing clothes like pyjamas. My cousins, they had sort of denim clothes. We walked through these lanes into the village. It was very dark because there's no lights. When we got to the house, they only have one little lamp, one little light bulb that was on. Could hardly see anybody. We were able to take many things like clothes, material, foodstuffs, toilet rolls, a couple of sewing machines, a couple of bicycles, and a TV. Unfortunately, with my uncle's families, they didn't get on. And more so, now that Mum has arrived with all these goodies, who was going to get what? So there was a lot of arguments. We used to send 20-pound bags of clothes to them, and I could see some of the children wearing some of my children's clothes, which I'd sent many years previous, and they were precious to them too, because they wore them under their outside clothes. We had a dairy which was open 7 days a week, more than 12 hours a day, and I was working from early morning to late at night. After visiting them, I felt, what was I complaining about? I had the freedom, I had a good home, I had plenty to eat. I didn't have to be careful of what I was going to say, and I felt I didn't need to complain. So when I came home, I wasn't complaining. And I haven't complained really since.
My pawpaw could not read a recipe, but wow, she was a savvy cook. Mr. Chairman, Toastmasters and guests, Pawpaw is my maternal grandmother. Her name is Ho Yuke So. So Toastmasters is an international education program for communication and leadership. I joined it because I needed to be more confident about speaking, but that's only a small part of what we do. We train people to be better speakers, but also to be better communicators and leaders. One of the best things that happened through Toastmasters was meeting my husband. I remember when I introduced Mum and Dad to Glenn, they were actually delighted to meet him. He thought he was going to be in trouble and he was going to be told off and, stay away from our daughter, blah, blah, blah. But when he arrived, they said, we want to show you this ring. And it's actually my grandmother's ring, Pawpaw's ring. And we want you to have that when you ask her to marry you. And he was so delighted and touched. This is Pawpaw's ring, my Pawpaw's ring. So your great-grandmother's ring.
Like this. Will you marry me?
That's so fun. Keep good. We've got 2 children. Cassandra is 9 and Vanessa is 6. They both have quite different personalities.
I like this book because it has lots of action in it.
Sandra is probably more studious and she's my social justice warrior.
These cardigans were made by Popo. She knitted them. And she also knitted scarves and a jacket with a hood and, yeah, beanies as well.
Vanessa is a bundle of laughs. She tends to try and find the humour in everything.
Hello. Hello. I am Mouse. Hello, I'm a dog. Where is Cat? The favourite things to do with Popo is cooking and reading together. Vanessa likes doing pranks on her. There's this Jack in the Box, and then it opens and she went, ah! Me.
I think if my papa was still around, she'd be delighted to see my kids and she would have so much fun showing them how to cook like she did with me. She'd be happy to see that we've got a family. She would be surprised that I'm still working. I don't think she expected, mums to go off and have jobs and careers and beyond being mums. But I think she'd be okay with that.
In this box, I have kept it for many, many years. It's her hair, which she had when she first came to New Zealand. And I've used it when I've wanted it to be part of my hairdo. And it's still here. This is my mother's hair. My mother and father, I know, loved me very, very much. I was very precious. They never kissed me, they never hugged me, but they always fed me and they always looked after me. They would say, "Da jia ganya." So that means if they loved you, they would growl at you.
There's war in the air, our cupboards are bare. The time has come, the time that I fear. Daughter, sweet daughter, you must go alone to a foreign country, far from your home. And be an immigrant woman, young, brave and free. Refugee woman, crossing land and sea.
Phi thường cảm謝 New Zealand On Air 嘅幫助。